Sheldon, Austin says he feels good to play. If so, what might that mean for the rest of the lineup tonight?
Well, obviously it's nice to have him back. In terms of the lineup, Cash is not going to be available today. He continues to be day to day, so that will put Richie back in the lineup.
Thanks.
If you have a question for Sheldon, please use the raise hand function. Next up, we'll go to Kevin McGran, Toronto Star. Go ahead, Kevin.
Sheldon, I think you were probably asked this yesterday, so I apologize for being on repeat here. But this break, is it that you've had? I know you've only played one game in the last couple of weeks. Is it a chance for the players to refocus? Is it a chance for you to gear them up for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple of things, right? I mean, you come out of the Christmas break there and you've got a large portion of the team that, I shouldn't say large portion, the entire team at that point, whether you had COVID or not, it was about 10 days or so that they did not skate. And then we had, we had guys, coming off of COVID protocols and getting them back up to speed at various times while the team was going. So you're dealing with that, but it's been a combination here of us getting the practice time that we've lacked throughout the season. I think I've said it before. We hadn't had 2 practice days in a row the entire season up until we've come back here after Christmas. So that's given us that valuable time. And then we've had to balance that with just getting the team back up and running again. Almost, to talk about a refocusing and a resetting, like there has been a bit of a preseason feel to things here. We even the other night we played one game, and then now we've had 3 days since, and leading up to tonight's game day. So the guys I know are looking forward to the game starting to come back here, and that's the interesting thing, right? There's a time when you're screaming for practice times and some days off, and then on the flip side of it, now you're wanting to play games. So that's really where we're at. We feel like we've gotten some good work done. And the guys are feeling good. They've had lots of touches on the ice in practices, and they're looking to put that to work in games.
And just sort of, I don't even know how to ask this properly because it's going to sound a little cold and callous, but is it almost better that the whole team basically got COVID at the same time rather than get it 2 or 3 guys at a time every week and be down 2 or 3 guys all the time rather than just sort of get it over with, kind of?
I mean, I don't know if there's a right answer to that. I don't think it's ever a good thing for guys to be getting it, but with the combination of the Christmas break being in there, it's allowed us some time for guys to come back and miss less games and all of that. So I think now we're getting to a point where more than half of our team, has had it, and we're past that part of it. So there's some positive there for sure, but we've still got lots of reasons to remain diligent around here.
Next up, we'll go to Terry Koshan, Toronto Sun. Go ahead, Terry.
Sheldon, you might have touched on this a bit, but what do you think? Physically, you guys are getting through the practices and everything, but what do you think it is mentally for the group to have got through the past few weeks and look at the schedule now and see actual games on it and not PPD written below, all of these dates that you might have coming up?
Yeah, I think it's big. I think it's really important. Like I'm saying, the guys have had a little bit of everything here, right? We've had the practice time to get sharp and get their game back going again, and then they've had the mental break. Granted, there's been some stressors happening around it with all the COVID stuff happening, whether you had COVID or didn't have COVID. There's some mental stresses and anxiety that goes on with that. But certainly the break has been there. The practice time has been there. The guys are ready to compete again here on a regular basis and get back into a regular rhythm. We're going to play here today, and then, we're gonna get out on the road, and even the road trips a bit spread out for us. It's somewhat of a light remainder of the month, but definitely just to see the games on the calendar, know that what your schedule is going to be. Certainly, when we get on the road, those games are going to be consistent, and I know the guys, are ready to get back going with that rhythm.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Next up, we'll go to Rosie DeMano with the Toronto Star. Go ahead, Rosie.
Good morning, Sheldon. About this road trip coming up, how concerned are you, if you are at all, about going into full arenas, and particularly the Coyotes, for example? They do not require their fans to wear masks at all.
Yeah, I mean, I personally haven't looked at it. In the games that we've played, whether it's at our building or or on the road, I personally haven't felt concerned in any way. I feel like when we're down at ice level that we're, even though it's not necessarily a bubble, it feels that way. At least that's the perspective that I have on it. So I don't think that's really on our minds, frankly. And then whether there's fans or there's masks or anything like that, we just have to make sure that we're focused. And there's a lot of things that the NHL and our staff and our particular team in the buildings that we go into, they do a lot of great work to keep things safe and as contained as possible at the event level. So from that sense, I think everybody has a peace of mind to just go out and compete with a clear mind.
Thank you.
We'll take two more here. We'll go to Chris Cuthbert, Sportsnet. Go ahead, Chris.
Sheldon, it looked like Rasmus didn't miss a beat coming back after a month. Just wondered what your assessment is of him this year and what the next progression for him, what are the next steps you're looking for from him?
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. First of all, I thought that, the long layoff of for him is a combination of COVID and injury. And I thought both in the practices and the game the other night in Ottawa that he looked really refreshed to me and had a lot of jump. And like I said, went from practices to carry right over into the game. So that the break, I think, for a young player like that, and we had talked about it a little bit, that he's already played more games this season than he played all of last season. And that break has served him well in terms of his progression. What's next? I think it's just continuing to build confidence and consistency. And that when I talk about confidence, that's confidence himself in his own game, which I think really has been a strength of his. He is a very confident guy, but then obviously the coaching staff and continuing to earn that confidence through the consistent play so that you can take on more responsibility, tougher matchups, those sort of things. But, we don't want to get too carried away with a young player like that in terms of expectations or what have you. But he's certainly done a nice job of taking advantage of everything that he's gotten. And like I said, since we've come back here from this little break, he looks to me like he's refreshed and ready to get back at it.
And last one here, we'll go to Lance Hornby, Toronto Sun. Go ahead, Lance.
Thanks, Sheldon. I remembered my second question now. Around the Chicago game, when you guys started turning things around, Zach Hyman said this Toronto team is too good to have the record it has now. And of course, you guys turned it around. You feel the same way about Edmonton, going through some struggles now, but obviously having some pretty good players who may make a difference before the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, both myself and our team organization, we've got great respect for the Oilers and how they play and the talent that they have. I think that's a big part of why we've found success against them, frankly, is that we do respect them greatly. And our guys seem to be focused and really prepared and execute at a high level against them. And that speaks to the level of respect that we have for them. And to me, they've been playing better hockey than the results that they've gotten. And I know they're going to be a hungry team coming in here today. It's our job to continue to make things difficult.